we have Matheus Nicolau taking on Matt Schnell, possible fight of the night. Now, I talked about this at the start of the video. Matt Schnell in 2022 is 1-1. He has a first-round submission loss to Brandon Royval. He has a second-round submission win over Sumo Energy. On its face, none of that's all that crazy. Like, you're 1-1, you win by submission, you lose by submission. One-round fight, two-round fight, both fight of the nights. And the second fight, the one that he won, is number 5 on Topology's Fight of the Year. How wild is that for Matt Schnell?
It's absolutely insane. And for Matt Schnell, he has a very unique characteristic, and it's called having a rubber chin. And I don't mean that as a negative by any means. It is very much a bend but don't break kind of a style, because we've seen Schnell get knocked out in the past, don't get me wrong. Upper echelon, really big tier power punchers can hurt him. But in a lot of his fights, he's at least getting wobbled or stunned. And against a guy like Nicolau, you think that's probably going to play a factor at some point. Now, Schnell does have a massive advantage with his grappling in this matchup. He's a much more active grappler if this fight does hit the ground, but I think Nicolau is going to be able to land early and often in this matchup. That's my problem with Matt Schnell, and especially his striking defense. We've seen him just get rocked too many times, and at a certain point, the upper echelon guys in the division are just going to rock you. They're going to drop you and put you away, and I do think Nicolau, he might not be the best kind of knockout fighter in this division, but he's still a pretty darn good one at the end of the day, and he does carry that upper echelon power.
And we know it out of Nicolau. I mean, he did drop Bruno Correa a couple times. He got dropped in that fight as well. He dropped Louis Smolka like it was going out of style 3 times in their fight. He got dropped and finished by Dustin Ortiz and then cut from the promotion at 3-1 at the time. But he's 3-0 since he's come back. He had some good fights outside of the scene. He won a controversial decision over Manel Kopp. Of course, we all know this. 22 on MMA decisions, had a 29-28 Kopp. None of them had it for Nicolau, but Nicolau gets the win. He beats Tim Elliott in a close fight where Elliott's the only guy that's ever taken Nicolau down in the UFC, and he went 1-10 on his takedown attempts. So Nicolau, career in the UFC, has 93% takedown defense. And Nicolau, for what it's worth, his last time out against David Dvorak, his second round in that fight, he ends up getting the knockdown in that one, but he fakes the right hand, almost switches stances. It's like Jorge Masvidal. Fake right hand, almost switches stances, left hook, and it drops David Dvorak. And it was one of the most cartoony knockdowns I've ever seen in my life, because Dvorak's like wobbling around and then he ends up falling down. So a really big one for Nicolau's last time out. He's a guy that trains out of Nova União, so you know you're going to have guys like Rafael Dos Anjos is also on this card to train with, but Jose Aldo's trained there for the longest time. A lot of really good guys in the lower weight classes. But for Matheus Nicolau in this one, good takedown defense, good boxing, nice kicks against Matt Schnell, who's going to bring the kitchen sink at you in a fight.
He definitely is, but I feel like his ability to just get into a brawl and be happy brawling with a guy like Nicolau is definitely going to get him caught in this fight.
I'm eager to see it out of a guy like Schnell because he's been training close to home. I mean, you see it right there out of Heritage Muay Thai. His main coach, Eve Edwards, is there to coach, but Adrian Yanez to get ready for this fight, as well as Raufeon Stott. So 2
good training partners.
Great guys to get ready for a fight against a guy like Matheus Nicolau. We have a look at the odds in this one for Nicolau. Holy smokes.
It makes sense, though.
No, wait, minus 400, minus 390, Nicolau.
You brought up the takedown defense stats of a guy like Nicolau. We've seen him fight Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott got to a title shot fighting like Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell does not fight like prime Tim Elliott whatsoever.
Matt Schnell plus 298, Matheus Nicolau minus 390. We have a look at the Topology votes. I guess there'll be a surprise to us there, to you. They're ranked one above one another, so I'm going to say over under 80% Nicolau.
I think they'll be over.
And they're over. 2022 total votes, 86% Nicolau, 71% by decision for the 14% that have Schnell, 42% by decision, 25% by submission, 22% by knockout. Those might not all add up, but Matt, everybody seems to be going with Nicolau. I do have Nicolau in this fight, but it does worry me a little bit with that varied attack, with the power that can come into effect from Matt Schnell. Maybe Schnell's able to catch him. I think Nicolau gets the win in this one based just solely on his technique, and he's a guy that really does stick to a game plan in a fight, and I like that in a matchup like this.
I just think Schnell's going to find himself walking into a lot of big power shots. He's going to have to close the distance to have his own success. Nicolau has good takedown defense. He has good footwork, too. That's the thing. I know Dustin Ortiz is able to sort of disguise some of his own takedown attempts as strikes. I don't think Schnell's going to have that same level of success. I think Nicolau has improved quite a bit since that fight.